my shortcake minions. Hope you're doing good today. Today I thought I'd do something a little different. Today I want to do the history of Christmas. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you have a cup of hot chocolate with you and cuddled up, snuggled up in the warmest of blankets. So, here we go. Christmas is both a sacred religious holiday and a worldwide cultural and commercial phenomenon. For 2 millennia, people around the world have been observing it with traditions and practices that are both religious and secular in nature. Christians celebrate Christmas Day as the anniversary of the birth of Jesus of Nazareth, a spiritual leader whose teachings from the basics of their religion. Popular customs include exchanging gifts, decorating the Christmas tree, and attending church, sharing meals with family and friends, and of course, waiting for Santa Claus to arrive. December 25th, Christmas Day, has been a federal holiday in the United States since 1870, believe it or not. The middle of winter has long been a time of celebration around the world. Centuries before the arrival of the man called Jesus, early Europeans celebrated light and birth in the darkest days of winter. Many people rejoiced during the winter solstice, when the worst of the winter was behind them, and they could look forward to the longer days and extended sunlight. In Scandinavia, the Norse celebrated Yule from December 21st to the winter solstice through January. In recognition of the return of the sun, fathers and sons would bring home large logs, which they would set on fire. People would feast until the log burned out, which could take as many as 12 to 13 days. The Norse believed that each spark from the fire represented a new pig or calf that would be born during the coming year. Yay! The end of December was a perfect time to celebrate in most areas of Europe. At that time of year, most cattle were slaughtered, so they would not have to be fed during the winter. For many, it was the only time of year when they had a supply of fresh meat. In addition, most wine and beer made during the year was finely fermented and ready for drinking. In Germany, people honored the pagan god Odin, the father of Thor. During the midwinter holiday, Germans were terrified of Odin as they believed he made nocturnal flights through the sky to observe his people and decided who would prosper and who would perish. Because of his presence, many people chose to stay inside. In Rome, where winters were not as harsh as those in the far north, Saturnalia, a holiday in honor of Saturn, the god of agriculture, was celebrated, beginning in the week leading up to the winter solstice and continuing for a full month. Saturnalia was a hedonistic time when food and drink were plentiful and the normal Roman social order was turned upside down. For a month, slaves would become masters, peasants were in command of the city, businesses and schools were closed so that everyone could join in the fun. Also, at that time of the winter solstice, Romans observed Juvenalia, I think that's how you say it, Juvenalia, a feast honoring the children of Rome. In addition, members of the upper classes often celebrated the birthday of Mithra, the god of the unconquerable sun, Why don't they just say Helios? Of course, it's Greek, but this is wrong. So, Martha. On December 25th, it is believed that Mithra, an infant god, was born of a rock. For some reason, for the Romans, Martha's birthday was the most sacred day of the year. In the early years of Christianity, Easter was the main holiday, and the birth of Jesus was not celebrated. In the 4th century, church officials decided to institute the birth of Jesus as a holiday. Unfortunately, the Bible does not mention date for his birth, a fact Puritans later pointed out in order to deny the legitimacy of the celebration. Wow. Although some evidence suggests that his birth may have occurred in the spring, why would shepherds be herding in the middle of the winter? Pope Julius I chose December 25th. It is commonly believed that the church chose this date in an effort to adopt and absorb the traditions of the pagan Saturnalia festival. First called the Feast of the Nativity, the custom spread to Egypt by 432 and to England by the end of the 6th century. By the end of the 8th century, the celebration of Christmas had spread all the way to Scandinavia. Today, in the Greek and Russian Orthodox churches, Christmas is celebrated 13 days after the 25th, which is also referred to as the Epiphany or Three Kings Days. This is the day it is believed that the three wise men finally found Jesus in the manger. By holding Christmas at the same time as traditional winter solstice festivals, church leaders increased the chances that Christmas would be popularly embraced, but gave up the ability to dictate how it was celebrated. By the Middle Ages, Christianity had, for the most part, replaced pagan religion. On Christmas, believers attended church, then celebrated raucously in a drunken carnival-like atmosphere, similar to today's Mardi Gras. Each year, a beggar or student would be crowned the Lord of Misrule, and eager celebrants played the part of his subjects. The poor would go to the houses of the rich and demand their best food and drink. If the owners failed to comply, their visitors would most likely terrorize them with mischief. Christmas became the time of year when the upper classes could repay their real or imagined debt to society by entertaining less fortunate citizens. In the early 17th century, a wave of religious reform changed the way Christmas was celebrated in Europe. When Oliver Cromwell and his Puritan forces took over England in 1645, they vowed to rid England of the decadence, and as part of their effort, canceled Christmas. Bummer. By popular demand, Charles I was restored to the throne, and with him came the return of the popular holiday. Yay! My nose is running. The Pilgrims, English separatists, that came to America in 1620 were even more orthodox in their Puritan beliefs than Cornwell. As a result, Christmas was not a holiday in early America. From 1659 to 1681, the celebration of Christmas was actually outlawed in Boston, nonetheless. Anyone exhibiting the Christmas spirit was fined 5 shillings. By contrast, the Christmas spirit was fined 5 shillings. Way to go. By contrast, in the Jamestown settlement, Captain John Smith, yes, the same John Smith with Pocahontas, reported that Christmas was enjoyed by all and passed without incident. Woohoo! After the American Revolution, English custom fell out of favor, including Christmas. In fact, Christmas wasn't declared a federal holiday until June. It was totally opposite. June 26, 1870. It wasn't until the 19th century that Americans began to embrace Christmas. Americans reinvented Christmas and changed it from a raucous carnival holiday to a family-centered day of peace and nostalgia as it is today. But what about the 1800s? Piqued American interest in the holiday. The early 19th century was a period of class conflict and turmoil. During this time of unemployment was high and gang rioting by the disenchanted classes often occurred during the Christmas season, unfortunately. In 1828, the New York City Council instituted the city's first police force in response to a Christmas riot. This catalyzed certain members of the upper classes to begin to change the way Christmas was celebrated in America. In 1819, best-selling author Washington Irving wrote the sketchbook of Geoffrey Crayon, Gent, a series of stories about the celebration of Christmas in English manor houses. The sketches featured a squire who invited the peasants into his home for the holiday. Way to go! And, treated them nicely. Time to be nice. In Irving's mind, Christmas should be peaceful, warm-hearted, joyful holiday, bringing groups together across the lines of wealth or social status. Irving's fictitious celebrants enjoyed ancient customs, including the crowning of a lord and minstrel. Irving's book, however, was not based on any holiday at all that he attended. In fact, many historians say that Irving's account actually invented tradition by implying that it described the true customs of the season. Way to go! You rule! Also, around this time, you all know him. You all love him. You love the book. You love the movie. The English author Charles Dickens created the classic holiday tale, A Christmas Carol. The story's message, the importance of charity and goodwill towards all humankind, struck a powerful chord in the United States and England and showed members of Victorian society the benefits of celebrating Christmas, the holidays. The family was also becoming less disciplined and more sensitive to the emotional needs of the children. During the early 1800s, Christmas provided families with a day when they could lavish attention and gifts to their children without appearing to spoil them. Now, as Americans began to embrace Christmas as a perfect family holiday, old customs were unearthed. People looked toward recent immigrants and Catholic and Episcopalian churches to see how the holiday should be celebrated. In the next 100 years, Americans built a Christmas tradition all their own that included pieces of many other customs, including decorating Christmas trees, sending holiday cards, and gift giving. When was the last time I sent out a holiday card? Been a while. Sorry. Although most families quickly bought into the idea that they were celebrating Christmas how it had been done for centuries, Americans had really reinvented a holiday to fill the cultural needs of a growing nation. So that's how we have Christmas today, or how Christmas has become as it is today. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you want more of these videos, let me know, and I'll be more than I'll be more than happy to bring them to you. Love you guys. Hope you have a happy holiday. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, the Three Kings Days, whatever you celebrate. Much love, guys. Heart hands, smooshes, and hugs. Mwah!